It's almost time for number 17 UConn against number 12 Villanova, and who better to bring on to run it back than the face of the Big East, John Fanta. I'm Noam. My co-host is Jacob Sondik. And John, right off the bat, I want to ask you, with both Villanova and UConn coming off of losses, who needs a win more?
I would say Connecticut, because they've played less conference games. So I would sit here right now and say if UConn is 6-4 through 10 Big East games, that's a bit of a problem now with Marquette coming in on Tuesday. I would sit here and say the Marquette game becomes a must win. So I would say UConn because, guys, I think that this team aspires to be a one that can make a second weekend of an NCAA tournament, and they did not play like that earlier this week. So Villanova, to me, look, they need a win too, and they're on their home court. But they're still 9-3 in the league. And they still have been able to put up some quality wins against teams that UConn has yet to see. Villanova has swept Xavier. UConn has yet to face Xavier. So UConn needs a win here. And if they don't get it, then I think our opinions are, first off, they're going to be on the top 25 if they lose this game. You're out of the poll. And you kind of go off of the radar a little bit. So for me, I'm going to sit here and say Connecticut. But more than anything, beyond the win, you might play a really good game and lose. And if you do that, I'm okay with that. UConn did not play a good game against Creighton. So Connecticut's got to come out, and they have to expose Villanova in the paint. You got to attack. You can't get into a three-point war. You have one of the best big men in America. He's got to play like it on Saturday. Adama Sanogo needs to be fed early and often. And guys, in a game against Villanova, your point guard play has to be razor sharp. RJ Cole, this is your time.
So we mentioned UConn didn't play a great game. You were in the building on Tuesday. How did it feel to do a game with Bill Raftery, one of the legends of college basketball? I mean, we got the news. We were like, that's a dream booth. We love to see it. So how was that from your perspective?
A bucket list item checked off. He is hysterical. I mean, my favorite line of the broadcast was him saying, UConn really hugs you defensively in their ball screen coverage, kind of like you with the bartender last night, which that's not at all what I was doing. But only Bill can say that. Only Rafs can say that. He is the best in the business. It really had me emotional when I got the assignment. You grow up and you watch Raft on Big Monday. I watched Bill Raftery on Big Monday. So to now get an assignment with him for that game, it really puts things in perspective. But also humility is so big in our business. And Raft is the most humble guy you'll ever meet. And I try to be as humble as he is because it's what we should all strive to be. I tried not to get overwhelmed or tried not to get over emotional, but just tried to call the game the way I call games with people and try to be a friendly partner. That was the goal going in, but I'd be lying to you guys if I said that when I didn't get it, I was just in jubilation because doing a game with Raft, he's so special. And I get to work with Vin Parisi, Donnie Marshall, Andy Katz, Tariq Turner, great guys, some of the best in the business. And Raft is another one of the best and a guy that over the course of his career has made such an amazing personality and brand and name for himself. So it was really emotional. And I'm glad you asked the question, Jacob. I want to thank Fox. They've given me an opportunity pretty much out of college to be a broadcaster for them. And I'm so thankful to my bosses at Fox that they would entrust me to call a game with the governor. It was an honor and a privilege, and it's something that I will never forget.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So we'll talk more about UConn-Nova because that's the big game on the horizon. Who are the X factors on each squad, UConn and Nova, in this big game tomorrow on each side that could swing this game in either side?
Yeah, I think that the X factor for Villanova is Jermaine Samuels because Samuels has been up and down this year. He has had offensive games where he's just disappeared. He's had some games where he breaks out and is into double figures and is hitting shots. If Samuels is hitting the weak side three for Villanova, they become very, very dangerous. That being said, let's look at Connecticut here. So I can't say that Jordan Hawkins is an X factor. He's a freshman, guys, and he was way off against Creighton. He's going through it. We know who the key swing player is on the offensive side of the basketball, and the key swing player is Tyrese Martin. If Tyrese Martin is playing the way he's capable of, then good things are going to happen for UConn. You know, that is the kind of player that Tyrese Martin is. He has to be an alpha on the wing. He can't disappear at times. He's got to take it on, take on the fight, take on the challenge. Isaiah Whaley's not an X factor. You know, he's not. He's a great defensive player. There's a reason why Creighton was willing to live with him taking threes. You know, and eventually he missed a couple of key ones that were wide open. So to me, Tyrese Martin, and he took a shot to the hip earlier this week. He looked banged up. He was wincing in pain. They need him to play a big game on Saturday for them to have a shot.
Yeah, you talk about Jermaine Samuels. He hit the dagger 3 a couple of years ago at Wells Fargo Center. And that was the game where post-game Dan Hurley said, you know, people better get us now. You better get us now because it's coming. And we've seen sort of steps up in the UConn program. Obviously, they're significantly better than they were 2 years ago. But you talked about, you know, they kind of put up a stinker against Creighton. It was a game at the XL Center, which is this big cavernous arena. And on a midweek game, it doesn't really fill. So if you're Dan Hurley, what is the last thing you say to your team before they take the floor on Saturday against Villanova so that they don't come out and put up another stinker like they did against Creighton?
Gentlemen, this is why we play. This is why we play college basketball. You want to be in this situation in February where you're playing Villanova, and it means a lot. That's what you want to have happen in the Big East Conference. Villanova's won 2 of the last 5 national championships for a reason. Take on the fight. Don't shy away from the fight. That would be my message if I were Dan Hurley to his team. And guys, throw it out. What happened on Tuesday? Throw it out. This league is hard. This league's going to send 7 teams to the NCAA tournament. Have short memory. Put it away. It's in the rearview mirror. We have to take on the fight. If we're going to be the best in the Big East, we got to be able to beat Villanova. Until we do that, we're not the best in the Big East. And at Connecticut, that's our goal. Take on the fight. Take on the challenge. Now, that's about the most coaching I could do right there. What I just did.
It's pretty good. That's pretty good. Got me fired up. So you talked about the Big East. It's been awesome this year. From someone that studies it and is part of it as much as you are, what are a few things? I know there's a lot of storylines. You can't talk about them all, but a couple of things that have stood out to you in the conference this year as we're first week of February, as we're nearing March.
Well, it's that there's 2 National Coach of the Year candidates in this conference, Shaka Smart at Marquette, Ned Cooley at Providence. What Shaka's done at Marquette, winners of 8 of their last 9 games, is nothing short of incredible. Daryl Morcell, a Maryland transfer, guys. Before he got to Marquette, he had never had a 20-point performance in college. He's already got 5 this year at Marquette. He's become a bucket getter. He still defends the way that he's capable of. And Justin Lewis is playing like an NBA draft prospect. And I would vote Justin Lewis Big East Player of the Year right now. I would vote him Player of the Year in this conference. And I would have never, ever, ever, ever been able to say that before the season. It shocks me just how good he's been. I thought he'd be good. I did not think he'd be outstanding. He has been outstanding in every way. Tyler Kolek's been a great point guard for this team. They do so much around him on the ball screens, and he is relished in it. And then with Providence, the sum is greater than the parts. They don't have a Big East Player of the Year, but they have several quality pieces and a motivated team that has been doubted, that's been called lucky. They've used all that, guys. When people call them lucky, they put it on the board. I've seen it. I see the board. I see what's going on in that locker room. Like, in a lot of ways, they've been fueled by some narratives this year. They're 19-2. They're 19-2. You look at what they've done over the course of the last week. They won at St. John's at Carnesecca, not an easy place to win. UConn knows it's not easy to beat St. John's. They almost lost to them. Providence beat Marquette, and they won at Xavier. And Xavier does not take home losses very often. So the Providence Friars are a team that could get a top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. That is a huge headline. I did not see that coming at all. And then I think when you look around the league, it's just that every night is a battle. And I'm not just saying it. Like this league really outside of Georgetown right now, who is yet to win a conference game, even DePaul is playing hard. Connecticut had a tough battle with them. So these teams in this league are playing really hard. I think the key maybe variable to this conference in the final month is what Seton Hall team do we see? Do we see the one that's starting the year, or do we see the one we've seen in the last month? That's an interesting question that I'll be intrigued to watch here as the final month of the regular season plays out, because Seton Hall needs Bryce Aiken back.
John, it's always great to hear from you. It's pretty incredible how much of a depth and breadth of knowledge you have about the Big East. And now you got to go call a women's game. So we're going to let you go, but we will see you tomorrow for UConn-Villanova, 12 noon tip-off. Gus Johnson on the call on Fox. It's going to be a good one. Number 17 Huskies, number 12 Villanova. Thanks for joining us today.
Noam, Jacob, it's great to be with you. Villanova, UConn Saturday. It does not get much better in college basketball.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in to Run It Back. We'll see you next episode.